It's a strange idea, isn't it? We're taught to see time as a straight line, past behind us, future ahead. But Neville Goddard invited us to see something radically different. Time as a canvas, not a road. Every possibility exists right now. Your desired reality isn't out there waiting years away. It's here, invisible, until you align yourself to it. Neville was not just another self-help teacher. He was a revolutionary thinker who showed people how to collapse the gap between now and someday. His work reveals that our imagination is not bound by the clock. Instead, it moves freely, touching moments that feel distant and bringing them into the present. In this video, we're going to explore why time is nothing more than a construct of the mind and how that realization can free you from waiting for change. Because once you see time differently, you stop living for a better day and start living as if that day is here right now. So as you listen, ask yourself, if the future I want is already real, how would I think, speak, and act today? That answer might be the key to everything you've been seeking. Neville believed the mind is not simply a recorder of life's events. It is the projector. Everything you see, touch, and experience begins in the unseen realm of imagination. Most people use their imagination passively, daydreaming without intention. But Neville taught us that imagination, when used deliberately, reshapes reality itself. Think of it like this. The physical world is just a shadow cast by your inner world. Change the inner picture, and the outer circumstances have no choice but to follow. And here's where time's illusion becomes obvious. When you vividly imagine your desired future as if it's happening now, you are literally stepping into that version of reality. It's not pretend. It's tuning yourself to a frequency that already exists. Just as a radio doesn't create the music, but simply picks up the station, you don't create the future. You align with the one you want. Neville would say, live in the end. Don't wait to be wealthy to feel secure. Don't wait to be loved to feel worthy. Feel it now. Think from the wish fulfilled, not of it. In doing so, you compress time. You bridge the gap between what's imagined and what's experienced. When you understand this, the idea of waiting years for a dream feels almost silly, because the moment you claim it inwardly, you've already arrived. Neville's end state technique is deceptively simple, but it's the very heart of bending time. He urged people to stop asking how their desires would come and to start living as if they had already arrived. Imagine you want to own a home. Most people visualize the process. Searching listings, saving money, talking to agents, but Neville would say that's a trap. Those steps keep you emotionally tied to not having it yet. Instead, skip ahead. Go straight to the end scene. Perhaps you're standing in your kitchen, sunlight pouring in through a window, your hand resting on the countertop you chose. You hear the faint hum of your refrigerator, you smell fresh coffee brewing. Feel the quiet contentment in your chest. And here's the key. Let it be so vivid, so normal in your mind, that it feels like a memory rather than a dream. In that moment, your subconscious accepts it as real now. And because the subconscious is the bridge between imagination and reality, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match. Neville taught that when you live in the end, you collapse the waiting period. Time stops being a road between you and your desire. Instead, it's a doorway you're already walking through. It's not magic, it's alignment. Neville often said, your imagination is the only reality. To the conscious mind, that sounds poetic, but to the subconscious mind, it's literal. Science now backs what Neville taught decades ago. Your subconscious does not distinguish between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. Both leave the same impression in the mind. Think about a nightmare. You wake up sweating, heart racing, even though it never really happened. Why? Because your subconscious responded to it as if it were real. Neville simply applied this principle intentionally. When you imagine the end state, not once but repeatedly until it feels natural, you are impressing your subconscious with a fact. And your subconscious, being obedient, goes to work to bridge the gap between inner and outer worlds. This is why time becomes irrelevant. To the subconscious, the moment you accept something as done, it is already true. What we call waiting is just the physical world catching up to the reality you've already created inside. Neville called this living in the wish fulfilled. It's not daydreaming, it's training your inner world to see the outcome as inevitable. When you do this, you're no longer chasing your desire. You're aligning with it, and alignment collapses time. Neville said there is one moment where everything changes, the instant you stop wanting and start being. Most people keep their desire in the future. One day I'll have it, soon it will happen. But the subconscious only knows now. If you keep imagining it someday, that day never truly arrives. The shift is simple but radical. You must step into the identity of the person who already has it. You don't try to believe. You accept it as an accomplished fact. Neville used the example of wearing new clothes. At first, they feel strange, but soon they feel like you. The more you mentally "we" are your desire, the more natural it becomes. And when it's natural, the outer world can't help but reflect it. He called this self-persuasion. You persuade yourself by feeling the reality now, not waiting for proof. When you reach the point where it feels almost boring because it's so certain, you've crossed the threshold. From here, time bends. Events align in ways you couldn't plan. People, opportunities, and resources show up without strain. Neville warned, don't peek to see if it's working. The seed grows in the dark. Trust that the moment you became it inside, the manifestation was inevitable. One of Neville's most remarkable stories was about his brother, Victor. Victor had been struggling to grow his small business. He wanted a much larger building in a prime location, but he had no money, no credit, and the property was already under contract by another buyer. By every logical measure, it was impossible. Neville told him, if you want it, occupy it in your imagination. So Victor did. Every night, he would walk through that building in his mind. He'd see the walls, smell the wood, hear his footsteps echo in the hallways. He didn't hope. He lived there mentally. Weeks later, the deal the other buyer had fell through. The owner, needing to sell quickly, offered Victor extremely favorable terms. The building became his without the usual financial hurdles. But here's the strange part. Years later, when they looked back, it seemed the chain of events had shifted to make it inevitable. The timing of the failed deal, the sudden urgency of the seller, even the people who just happened to mention Victor's name, it all lined up perfectly, as if the universe had been rearranging itself in response to his inner assumption. Neville called this time collapse, the outer world compressing events to meet your fulfilled state. The moment Victor accepted Rearranges, worship and imagination, the rest was just catching up. If you've ever tried to manifest something and found yourself constantly checking if it's working, you were actually delaying it. Neville said the key is to let it be. Time collapse doesn't happen by pushing harder or obsessing over details. It happens when you fully accept your new reality inwardly and then move on with your life as if it's already done. Here's a simple process. Choose your end. Be crystal clear on what you want. Not the steps to get there, but the final scene. Step into it mentally. Before sleep or in a relaxed state, imagine the event as if it already happened. Make it vivid. Sights, sounds, emotions. Feel the relief, the feeling that says, ah, it's mine. That's the signal to your subconscious. Release it. This is where most people fail. You don't keep digging up the seed to see if it's growing. You live your days knowing the movie has already been filmed. You're just waiting for that scene to play. When you release, life begins to rearrange itself. People you've never met can suddenly become key players. Delays become blessings in disguise. Circumstances bend to fit the scene you've accepted. You'll notice what once seemed years away can show up in weeks, even days. That's time collapse. It's not magic, it's alignment. If you want this to work at lightning speed, here's the truth. You must stop negotiating with reality. Most people keep one foot in doubt, thinking, well, I'll believe it when I see it. But Neville flips this. You'll see it when you believe it. Time collapse happens when your inner conviction is stronger than the evidence in front of you. Here's the mindset shift. The moment you accept your desire as already yours, the outer world is obligated to conform. Your job isn't to figure it out. Your job is to hold the feeling until it hardens into fact. If the outside world shows the opposite, you do, and panic. You smile because you know it's just the bridge of incidents playing out. Think of it like ordering at a restaurant. Once you place your order, you don't chase the waiter into the kitchen to see if the chef is cooking it. You sit, enjoy the atmosphere, maybe sip your drink, because you know it's coming. Neville's students who mastered this attitude often saw results not in years, but sometimes overnight. It's not about waiting, it's about living from the end. And when you truly live from the end, there's no waiting at all, only unfolding. No matter how strong your imagination, doubt will come knocking. It's not a sign you're failing, it's just the old self trying to survive. Neville taught that the key is not to fight doubt, but to replace it with the scene you've chosen. You don't wrestle the shadow, you turn on the light. Here's what to do when doubt shows up. Catch it instantly. The moment you notice a thought like, this isn't working, or this is impossible, stop. Don't follow it. Shift to your end scene. Feel it again. Hear the voices congratulating you. See the results in front of you. Breathe in the relief and joy. Anchor it physically. Neville sometimes suggested a subtle gesture, like touching your ring finger if imagining marriage or tapping your chest when feeling gratitude to lock in the state. Think of doubt like a cloud passing the sun. You don't curse the cloud or argue with it. You simply know the sun is still there and soon it will shine again. Every time you replace doubt with your chosen end, you are reprogramming your subconscious. Eventually, belief becomes your default and doubt loses all power. And here's the magic. When doubt can't move you anymore, the outer world must. That's when things happen shockingly fast. If you take only one thing from Neville Goddard's teaching, let it be this. Your imagination is not just daydreaming, it is the creative power of God within you. Every result in your life, whether wanted or unwanted, first lived in the unseen. The outer world is just a mirror, faithfully reflecting the inner movie you run over and over again. That's why Neville said, change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. You don't have to fight circumstances, chase approval, or wait for the right time. You simply need to live inwardly as the version of yourself who already has what you desire. Do it each night before sleep. Do it each morning before the world distracts you. Do it when doubt whispers, when fear shakes you, when nothing seems to change. Do it until the feeling of your wish fulfilled is more real to you than the noise around you. And one day, perhaps in a way so ordinary it feels supernatural, the world will rearrange itself. The phone call will come, the opportunity will open, the healing will happen. When it does, you'll realize something beautiful. You didn't just manifest a thing. You stepped into the truth of who you've always been, the operant power. The secret door is not out there, it's in here, and it's been unlocked all along.